Welcome back to Terpy Guys, back with another video for the channel. As you can see behind me, we're starting out today's video at the greenhouse property. We got a lot accomplished over the last few weeks that wasn't filmed, so unfortunately this video is going to be a lot of talking and updating. Unfortunately, things didn't work out with the trial period filmer that we had for the previous video, so if you guys did like that video or haven't seen it, go check that out, as it did get age restricted quite heavily and a lot of people haven't seen it yet. But moving forward, we're just gonna keep an eye out for a filmer that's reliable and respectful of people's property and time. So going forward, if you are a Thai national and know video editing and filming, be sure to reach out to me. I'm interested in a full-time filmer that is paid by salary, not by piecework. So let's jump right into showing you guys what I did accomplish over the last few weeks off of camera while dealing with some other things. So back here in the grow rooms and irrigation rooms, we ended up leaving off the last video with the painted walls. Before we had tile flooring, we got self-leveling concrete in all of here, done by a contractor. Then I came in here and did epoxy coating on top of here using a two-part system, which I'll show you right over here what we used in case you guys are looking to do this yourself. We did one coat of floor primer here, and then we did two coats of Floor Guard 100. This is a two-part system. Part A is like the base and part B is the hardener. I did the first coat of the primer without any thinner, the first coat of the top guard without thinner, and then I read the instructions and realized I could add some thinner to help spread the coating across the floor a little bit easier, resulting in a little bit thinner of a coating but easier to move around. I recommend doing 3 coats with the thinner. That would be the ideal situation, but the first coat without the thinner was super thick and super glossy. That top coat that I did walk in here with my dirty shoes, so it is a little bit dirty, but that top coat with the thinner did lay out very evenly across the entire surface, but there are a few dry spots. I don't know if I can pick it up on camera, but like right here where the concrete wasn't fully level from the self-leveling concrete, the roller didn't get into that little crevice. Being that I am color deficient, it was very difficult for me to see that color change while everything was wet and being done. Here's another spot that you can see, one little section, just because that area is so low. But otherwise, super happy with the results. The 2 coats definitely covered everything more than enough. One thing we're gonna do in here next will be, sorry, sometimes I'll have to stop talking because of the loud traffic. This is a busy highway that's in front of the farm. So next step in here is putting on some gloss white paint on both the walls and the ceilings. The white paint that the contractors used was not very high quality, and you can see a bunch of the stuff still through it. So it's very thin white paint just to make it one color. So I'm gonna get in here with some high quality white gloss paint that will make it very durable and easy to clean in the future. So not much really going on in here right now, as I just finished up the epoxy flooring last night. It is fully dried and cured now. Other than the painting, we are getting some white vinyl coverings put on all these windows so we don't have any light leaks from outside to inside at nighttime. We're gonna do double layer, one on inside and one on the outside, just to be sure. Makes it super easy to clean in here, all the surfaces. This air conditioning might be a little bit small for a 2-light setup with under canopy lighting, but we're gonna give it a try as is. Ideally, we want the air conditioning to be more centered in the wall, to be perfectly spread out across the room, but this is the way it was installed, so we're gonna rock that. If we do need to change the size, get it a little bit bigger, we will install it into the middle of the wall over here. So over here is going to be the irrigation room, all ready to go. Do the same thing. The window coverings with the white vinyl, gloss white paint on the walls and ceiling, and then we'll be able to get our water reservoirs in here and water pumps for mixing nutrients and whatnot. Place is coming along very well. We got our door fully installed here. We just need to put a handle on there. The other door still needs to be put back on. Out here is quite a mess now. I got my pots filled, which we'll be doing some transplanting today after I give you an update on the property. Transplanting our clones into here that are being re-vegged. Unfortunately, the stray dogs, there's about 12 dogs that live on this property now, including Jackson, which is the farm dog. The stray dogs come in here at nighttime, or in the afternoon when there's not many people around. They don't really bother me, but my girlfriend or other people visiting property, really, those dogs end up being quite scary looking because there's so many of them and they're quite aggressive. Fortunately, they are scared of me, and also Jackson backs me up when I'm on the property. For anybody that comes in, he'll follow me around nonstop. Unfortunately, they jumped on top of these pots and ripped all the pots open, resulting in the cocoa all over the place. So we will get that cleaned up very shortly. We got new clone racks, 1, 2, 3. We have 2 more in the clone room right now, so we'll have 5 total, which have 3 layers of shelving on each for clones, and we can put 1 more rack on the top when we suspend some lights from the roof. This room will be converted into our dry room in the future. Still need to do the epoxy flooring in here and the walls, just because this is being used for the plants currently. So this is the last room that will need to be updated. Once we get the plants out of here, we'll start working on here. We'll move back to the other rooms. This is flower room 1, the irrigation room over there. We've got flower room 2, same exact condition, epoxy floor, self-leveling concrete, all done. Walls still need to be painted gloss white, and the vinyl coverings, but we are making some progress over here. This will be the new propagation room over here. Originally, this was going to be our dry room. Just because the air conditioning is here and the door doesn't fully open, it's a better situation to move the clone or propagation room over here for easier entrance and exits. Got the floors done in here. The walls still need to be gloss white painted over the next couple days. We got our dehumidifiers here, I think 3 units, 1, 2, and 3 for the dry room, flower room 1 and flower room 2 here. We will be self-leveling the floor in here, getting rid of the toilet, and doing the epoxy flooring in here, removing the door, and repainting everything in here gloss white. Otherwise, super happy with this room. It was gonna be the dry room, but definitely happy with the results and switching it over to the clone setup. Let's take a walk down the back of the property so you can we'll take a look at the plants that we have going on over here. Close this door. So over here we have Frigido G, 3 of those plants. Then we have Blizzard of Oz up until here, and then we have Super Kush, and then we have a single plant of Stomp Berries. Super frosty. I have to say, all these plants are seeded because this is a breeding project. I didn't really care too much about these plants, so they ended up getting the pollen just like the plants over here. We just really want to see the plant structure, terpene profile, and bud structure, but since they are pollinated, we're not going to see the full effects or results from them being pollinated. But overall, this is my favorite Frigido G so far. Loudest terps, super nice, big buds. This one's second favorite. Not too fond of this one. And then as you can see from the Blizzard of Oz, there's quite a different number of phenos. There's like 1, 2, 3 that are similar, maybe 4. And then we got the shorter ones here and over there, one back there that's short. And then we have 4 or 5 similar bigger ones that I'm more interested in. But again, we'll run all these plants again without being next to a breeding project. And then the Super Kush is super nice. This one's really big when it's standing up. I really need to get supports on these plants, but I think we'll definitely find a couple keepers out of this pheno hunt, even though it's not done in the ideal situation. It's pretty hot out here. Let me get my hat. Oh, all right, got the hat on so I don't get sunburnt or overheated. But the secondary purpose of all these plants behind me is really to see any issues that we have on this property while growing, because the last owners on here, it was very apparent to see that they had some issues with, or major issues with, spider mites and different type of bugs in the greenhouses. So I want to get these plants out here to see exactly what attacks them and how long it takes to see the effects. Then we know how to do it at scale in the future of what type of treatments need to be done on the property or onto the plants to keep everything happy and healthy going through the entire stage of growing through veg, cloning, and flower. So it's been quite a few rainstorms over here over the last few days, but the plants are looking good. We got Blizzard of Oz right here, and then Blizzard of Oz right here, 2 male plants, and then we have 14 other strains across this trellis netting, all super nice. Orange Punch right here. We'll go over the strains just so you guys can see. This one is Orange Kush Cake, filled with seeds. Very nice to see. Great Balls of Fire, I think it is, or Great Balls, one of the two. Stomp Berries number 9. This is my second favorite pheno of the Stomp Berries. Then we got Devil's Cherries. This is going to be a heavy hitter cross. Super happy with the Devil's Cherries. It's a very popular strain in the cafe. OG Tropicana, or OG Trop, I think the real name is. And then we got Miracle Glue right here. So you can see those seeds just busting out right there. Then we got Blueberry Sugar. This will be a heavy hitter also. Next one, Stomp Berries number 7. We're at Stomp Berries number 10. Highest Yielder, not so much terps as number 7. Then we have Frozen Gelato. Definitely a popular one in the cafe. And then we have Lemonberry Candy OG. This should be a super heavy hitter, good for commercial production, large yieldings, nice terpene profile. And then there's 2 plants in the center, which is Stomp Berries number 4. The most frosty Stomp Berries pheno that I have. Most of these Stomp Berries won't be available, just for my own projects. And then we have right here Peanut Butter Pie. Let me know what you guys think the best cross is going to be. I'm going to be sending out a bunch of these seeds to a few people, different influencers and whatnot, to be collabing against, because a few of these strains came from different YouTubers or Instagram people, and then other people that I've dealt with in the past will be getting them before we release them to the public. But that's the plant setup right now. I think they're in like 2-gallon pots, 100% cocoa out here. There is perlite mixed into those ones, but in the small pots is 100% perlite. So let's take a walk down the back of the property so you guys can see what's going on over there. Unfortunately, I was trying to get all this scrap metal taken away. I had one person come, and halfway through them loading it, I realized that they were scamming me and just tossing the metal straight into the truck without weighing it. So I told them to get lost after that. They weren't welcome back, so I'll have to find a new scrap person or take it myself to the yard. But that's just Thailand for you. Everybody's trying to get a little extra out of you when you're not looking, or think that you're a foreigner. That's one of the results from that filmer. Unfortunately, negativity can get the hell out of here. We're not dealing with that going forward. Just like a few other projects that you guys seen on the channel will be getting dealt with. Greenhouses, or should I say outdoor grow space with a covered top. We will be getting mixed lighting set up in here, so it'll be kind of a hybrid setup of outdoor and mixed lighting. Got shade cloth for all this spaces also. Then back here off of camera, I had 2 helpers come and help me clean up the back of the property, along with getting the privacy fence all covered up and 2 layers of shade cloth put along the fence. Unfortunately, during the last big storm, all the section down here, one person did that entire section, and he didn't fully clip the I don't know what they're called, the clips that hold the shade cloth to the fence, and all came unclipped. So I'll have to get out here probably tomorrow and redo that. But otherwise, it looks really good and provides super nice privacy all the way back here. Neighbors decided to clean up their property then when they saw that we're cleaning up ours, so got all that brush cut down on both sides of the fence. We just need to restructure or resupport that fence because it's falling over quite a few places. So once that's supported again properly and nice and sturdy, we will continue the shade cloth all the way down this side of the fence, or the side of the property. So super good progress so far. Let me know what you guys want to see on the property or any processes. I am looking for that filmer, like I said at the beginning of the video. Has to be a Thai national and speak English so we can communicate together without any issues, and we're both on the same page going forward. So let's get back to the front of the property and start that transplanting of the clones. Okay, so I forgot to do the time lapse or turn on the camera completed right here, so just got to clean up this area. Let's head into the grow room, or the propagation room, temporary setup, so you guys can see what we did. Also got in here all cleaned up. Let me zoom out so you can see. All the extra grow equipment removed, swept the floor so it's somewhat cleaner now. And then there's our clone racks in, I don't know what these are, half-gallon pots. So we have 2 re-veg clones up here. It's gonna take a while. So there's 2 here, 1 tray right here, and then across the bottom are all the re-veg ones, so you can take a look. Healthy, nice. Remember we treated these with sulfur to get rid of the powdery mildew that we had an issue with, not only in the rooms over there, but this room also, from some clones that we got from a different supplier that we didn't take care of right away, so it did spread quite a bit. But transplanting and treating all those other plants, including the ones outdoors, with the sulfur mix, all the powdery mildew is gone, plants are healthy. Just some white residue still on the leaf tips that were never washed off. So we will get in here and spray all the plants off with just water. That way we can treat the plants with Athena IPM or any type of oil-based pest IPM. I like to use Athena IPM. There's also Lost Coast that you could use, but overall, this is our temporary setup. I'm actually going to get these clone racks removed out of this room so we can get the contractors over here to finish up the walls, give them a fresh coat of plaster across everything, 1 coat of white or 2 coats of white paint, and then I will personally get in here and do the gloss final coat of high quality paint on the walls and ceiling, along with epoxy flooring. I just think the final touch I'll put my hands on, get that done, but the base work I'll let the other people do, the contractors, get that done, as the final work needs to be a little bit more tedious and done properly. So the next project I want to get done today, let's head outside to take a look, was the pulse hub. You've guys seen me install them, the pulse hub and the pulse sensors, in all my grow rooms previously. Even in the grow tent room, or grow tents, have all had those sensors. Today we're going to be installing them outdoors on the outdoor plants. We're going to have the pulse hub and I think 6 VWC sensors which go in the growing medium, so we can see our EC levels in the growing medium, and the water content sensor. This is something most people don't do or don't utilize, is these sensors can be used outdoors on plants or even in greenhouses, different type of growing environments, not just cannabis plants. You can use them on your regular garden plants, so you can have a close eye on when you really need to water the plants so they don't die, maybe when you're on vacation or whatnot. So let's jump into that. Big shout out to Pulse for the continued support on the channel. You can use the discount code Terpy on the Pulse website for any of the Pulse products, so be sure to utilize that to get their equipment in your grow room. All right, so we're on to the next project. I got all of my Pulse sensors here. We got the Pulse Pro, which tells us temperature, humidity, vapor pressure deficit. This is a power meter right in the center of it. If you want to utilize that, you hold it straight up like this, push the side button, and then hold that for about 15 to 20 seconds while it takes a reading. There'll be a white light that flashes, which notifies you that the sensor has taken the reading of the power or PPFD at that level. Then you can release it and then go check your app in your phone, and it will tell you what your not only power reading is, which are PPFD, how much light your plant is getting at that level. It'll also tell you a DLI calculation to tell you what range or how much light your plant is getting over your flowering time or veg time, whatever you have your sensors set to. We got our VWC sensors here, which tells us our EC in the growing medium and our water content. We have 6 of those, so we'll put 3 of those sensors in these smaller pots here, so we can see how they get utilized there. And then we'll put 3 of the sensors over here in the bigger pots. This is a good opportunity to show you guys that all these sensors can be utilized outdoors. They don't need to be only strictly be used on the indoor. So that's our pulse hub right there. We do have a THV sensor which tells us temperature, humidity, and vapor pressure deficit. Each sensor needs one of these backbone cables, so it would be teed off of our main cable that comes off of the pulse hub. So once I get all this laid out, I'll show you guys a better look at it. It looks like a wiring mess right now, just laid out on the table. But if you guys want to utilize more of their sensors, we got a EC sensor in here for a reservoir, a pH sensor. We got a couple more pulse hubs here, and then we have the ORP sensor down there and the open sprinkler for automation. All this stuff will be utilized next once we have our rooms set up in here, both the flower room and the irrigation room. We'll have pH, EC, ORP sensors on both of our reservoirs for both of our flower rooms in there. Again, big shout out to Pulse, great equipment. You can use the discount code Terpy on their website. This is the Pulse Zero, which I like to utilize on the outdoors here. I just have it plugged into this power bar here, so I can see exactly what the environment is at our location, this greenhouse property. Not having to rely on, like, say, checking the local weather, you know? So we get the exact data at our specific spot where our plants are. So let me get this set up and then I'll give you an update once I'm done. So we're over here in the 6 Light Flex Star room, which is above the Terpy Cafe and Lounge. We haven't grown in here for quite a few months. I just really left it in its harvest condition. So we didn't really clean up anything, take down the trellis netting, vacuum it, and get it ready for another run, because I decided that I'm no longer gonna be growing in this exact building anymore. With the issues that we've had over the last year and a half trying to get a perfect run out of here, or even a couple good harvests, just was too much pain and suffering for my liking, along with getting a greenhouse property. So it's time to move everything over there. Since now that you've seen in the video, we already got the flooring and the walls ready to go. So now it's time to get all the grow equipment over there, so we have it fully set up, so we know where we want our electrical plugs everywhere, so everything is done correctly the first time. So let me turn the camera around and let's take a look at the current condition of the room. Good view from the corner back here. As you can see, nothing's being vacuumed. All the trellis netting is still up, and all the dried fan leaves and trimmings is all still around. So first step in here, collect all the big garbage like packaging from the nematodes that we used and any big branches that won't go up into the vacuum, all the plant tags and whatnot, trellis netting cut down. So I'll set you guys up on the time lapse and we'll just work our way through everything that we got going on here. So we got the GoPro Hero 10, which we use for our time lapses. I get a lot of questions about that. So if you like the quality and do time lapses yourself for whatever condition you use them for, that's what I use. So let's hit this up and get this first step done, and then we'll move on to probably taking the lights down and all the fans, and then after that we'll move on to disassembling the actual rolling benches. Definitely feels good working in a clean environment now that we got it all vacuumed out. Obviously it's not perfect yet. We'll get these trays outside or move to the greenhouse property, then we'll power wash them perfectly clean. If I can get them down the stairs, that's the big issue with these ones. I might have to try and figure out how to cut this seam open that I glued together. Definitely be able to get it down once it's cut across there, because we did bring them up as a 4x8 sheet tray. And then I guess this is a 4x4 after we cut it down. So we'll get those down, but for next step, we're gonna get down the electric heaters that we have up there, one there and one over there. I guess we'll take down the fans along with the heaters, and then we'll move on to the lights. We have the FlexStar 720 watt Pros. as grow lights, and then we also have the add-on far red bars, 2 per light. So let's set up the camera and get the next step, which is take away the lights, fans, and electric heaters. So I don't know how the video is going to turn out, as I did use a couple different settings on the cameras this time, as I'm trying a new filming style, as we are back to just me filming. And I'm going to do a little bit more editing than just updating you guys on the work, so you guys can see exactly how I get the work done if I'm working alone or when I'm working with other people. So today's project was getting this room taken down for the most part. I'm a little tired now. It's, I think, 1:30 a.m. right now. We got 2 girls getting trained downstairs in the cafe, so that's why I'm here so late. Work part of the day at the greenhouse property and then all evening here while the girls are getting trained, just so I'm close by if there's any issues or they need any clarification from me on what to do or how to be trained properly. Anyways, we're gonna finish up for tonight. Hope you guys like that little edit, or however I have it set up. I'm not too sure, but we ended up getting most of the room taken down today. As you can see, everything's just stacked up everywhere right now. Quite a mess, but this is what we're dealing with. Tomorrow, I'm gonna be here anyways with the 2 new girls getting trained. Same time, probably from 8 p.m. to 3 a.m. I'll be here. So that's plenty of time to deal with them downstairs, along with getting the frames and trays taken out of here, or at least taken down. And then everything's ready to be moved over to the greenhouse property. Everything does need to be cleaned quite a bit because it does have spray from the last grows on here, and everything's been sitting in here for a couple months. So a good scrubbing to sanitize everything and get everything clean. I still need to get the 4025 air sanitizer, I guess it's called, taken down off the wall so we can use that in one of the flower rooms. But pretty bare in here. Definitely underestimated how many items go into a grow room today. I thought I was going to be able to get this frame down also, but I'm just too tired right now. I do need to get home in about an hour once the shop closes downstairs for some sleep, and then back to work again tomorrow, just getting things done. You know how it is. Really opens my eyes again on how much goes into these builds, and it'll be finally nice to not only have the greenhouse property cleaned up and running at some point in the future, as that is a pretty big project on my hands I'm more than up for. And I do have good news coming for the indoor facility, so it won't probably be for another month or so until you guys see or hear about that, but good things are happening just in the background right now. So we're back here this next day, nighttime. Girls are still getting trained downstairs. Only one showed up today, so probably the other one I'm not going to continue training, as it's her 3rd day and she called in sick 5 minutes before her shift started. So that's how it goes in Thailand and being a business owner. So we're going to just move forward with the one being trained. She's very good, and let's just set up a time lapse and knock these frames out just alone, get it done, and then we'll pick back up when I've completed everything. Alright, so it's another day at the greenhouse property. Yesterday I didn't come here at all. I kind of got tied up at the cafe working above there, taking all the grow equipment apart and training the new staff. And I figured the plants might be okay over that 24 hours. Unfortunately, during the nighttime when I was sleeping, and then this afternoon, I didn't get over here till 1 p.m. because I worked at the shop till I think 3:30 a.m. So just got over here. So I want to give you an update on how the current condition of the plants are. Unfortunately, they didn't do so hot. They dried back this morning a little bit too much, and last night just it is what it is. The ones in the smaller pots are definitely drooped down quite a bit. Hopefully they come back after I give a watering. We are mixing nutrients right now. They will not fully recover, obviously, just because how much they dried back, but these ones not so bad. Only one is drooping right now, so that one will come back 100% once get the watering done. But the pulse water content sensors did tell me that it was obviously too far dried back and the plants weren't going to be looking too good. But unfortunately, that's one of the issues when running a one-man show, is sometimes there's just not enough time to get everything done, and we do need to make some sacrifices. We will get an automated irrigation setup on this property for the indoor rooms, and then finally in the greenhouses, once those are set up. This setup behind me that we're growing in right now is just a super temporary setup, just to see what type of pests, pathogens, and conditions we have on this property, so we know how to move forward at scale in the bigger locations like the greenhouse or the indoor. So to fix the plants of the drooping down, we're obviously mixing nutrients. This is a 500-liter tank. We just already added part A. Part B is going in there next. I'm just waiting for the last bit of it to dissolve. I think there's just a couple more pieces in there. We're filling it right up to 500 liters this time, because I'm going to give them a super heavy watering, both in the small pots and then even more in the bigger pots, just so the plants are super happy. I still need to get over the cafe tonight and train the staff again. Or actually, the new staff has the day off. She requested that way before I even hired her, so communication is important. But so we're gonna heavy water them today, and then tomorrow I'll get back here in late afternoon to give them another watering. I think the small pots are needing a watering every day now. I was doing them every other day, but they're big enough now that they are just getting a bit too dried out between watering. So we'll change it to watering every single day this time. So I just finished up watering the plants. I give them about 300 liters dispersed over all the plants that we have outdoors. Already by the time I started watering here, getting all the way to the end, the plants have already perked up. So we definitely caught it soon enough that the plants weren't drooped down too much, that the recovery time was pretty quick. Usually if they droop down a bit too far, then it might take a day or two for them to spring back up, which is pretty long time period for them to be stressed out without any water. So I think we caught it really early, so there will be no damage from the underwatering, but obviously it is more apparent with the pest issues that we have on here. So tomorrow I'm going to get in here and kill off any phenotypes that I don't like, that we won't re-veg. We won't waste any more time on them, no more nutrients, whatever. Get rid of those plants that I don't like, which will probably be around half of them, but otherwise everything's looking really good. I'll show you actually this one super kush. It's just getting attacked by bugs much worse than all the other plants, so I'm going to be killing that one off probably before I leave today, just because it's such a spider mite and pest infestation that I want to get rid of that one specifically as quickly as possible, so it doesn't spread to the other ones. But again, we're pheno hunting for not only the conditions of Thailand, but also for commercial production indoors. So if the plant performs outside in very unfavorable conditions, we want to try that on the indoors also. So the bud structure, the plant structure, and how resilient it is to pests. So anything that has to do with pest related right now, we're going to kill off tomorrow. But over here on the breeding project, tomorrow we're also going to remove the blizzard of Vols males, one there, one there. We're going to cut this one down, spread it all over the plants on this side, cut this one down and spread it all over this side, just so it's completely even spread out all the male pollen across. I think there's 15 strains here. well, there's like 12 strains and then a bunch of stomp berries phenos, which won't be released, but the other ones will be pheno hunted and released in the future. But that's just a quick update for you guys for today. I got to get back over to the cafe because I'm working over there tonight since a couple of the staff have the day off. But here's a quick look on the, oh sorry, there's no auxiliary light in this room right now, so I just rely on the door with the sunlight being open right now. But as you can see, the plants are very, let me turn on the, as you can see, the mother plants that we have are looking really good. Obviously up into the light at this point. I'll probably give them a topping tomorrow just to get a couple more days out of this space. Monday, contractors are going to come in here and get all the walls smoothed out and painted white. And then I can come in here and do the epoxy flooring and repaint the walls in gloss white. All of our re-veg clones have been rooted and transplanted, looking really good down here. No real changes. This will be a slow process to re-veg, but at least they're in a safe environment now. So we're back here at the greenhouse property, another day, another project. Gonna get a couple workers over here today. So a couple things that we're gonna get taken care of. For these two rooms, they're pretty much set right now until I do the gloss white painting. And then today's project, what they're gonna get done and what I've already started working on is in the clone room that we originally had here. I got all the plants out of here and the shelving taking out. So they're gonna remove all this janky wiring and timer, all the plugs. All this is gonna be taken out, that hole filled in, and then they're gonna paint and smooth this wall, the ceiling, all the walls, just so there's no cracks in here anymore and no holes from the previous people. Just like this. Make it all clean and flat, painted white, and then I'll get in here after and do the epoxy flooring and gloss white final coat on top of the white paint that they put in here. And then we'll move to the back on the next project that they're gonna get done is in the new propagation room where our clones will be. Let me turn on the light in here. There we go. In here, we're gonna take this door off, take the toilet out of here, the mirror and shelves that were previously in here, self-level the floor, make sure that we still have a drain in the floor to go outside for our dehumidifiers to drain into. But otherwise, this room was already previously worked on. When we did the first rendition of these rooms, we got the walls and ceiling already smooth and painted white. So that'll be a good transition today. You'll see at the end of the day. So we're up here in the VivoSun Grow Tent room. You guys seen this on the channel in the past. This was where we were supposed to do our breeding projects in each of the grow tents, a different project going on. But unfortunately, with all the different situations that we ran into with this building, I'm no longer growing here. Just like you guys saw me take down the 6 light room, today's project is to get rid of these grow tents, take everything down, and then on Monday, today's currently Thursday, I believe. On Monday, I got some workers coming over here to help me remove all the equipment from this building, and we can move all that grow equipment over to the greenhouse property and get started over there by building those grow rooms over there with much more success, since we've already proven that plants survive over there with minimal maintenance, no real challenges like we had in this building over a year of trial and errors. Every 2 to 3 weeks, we have starting new plants and overcome a different situation, which we finally did get a couple good runs in, but it's time to move on to bigger and better things. So I'm gonna just set you guys up on the time lapse while I break this entire room down. Won't be much explaining or B-roll, just because I wanna get this all done quickly. But before we set up the time lapse, let's take a quick look at what we have going on in here. First of all, big shout out to VivoSun for supporting the channel continuously over the last few years. If you wanna use the discount code Terpy highs on the VivoSun website to save yourself some money on their grow equipment, accessories, anything. Let's go over the grow tents that we have in here. This is a 4x8 setup, pro model. So we have the high CFM supports on here, which hold the tent walls from sucking in when the exhaust fans are on. Nothing's currently plugged in, so I don't have the lights on, but each light is 645 watts. So we have one on this side, one on this side, so a double light setup in a 4x8 grow tent We do have tables in here, so the trays are about a foot off the ground. You can see there's some area under there, which does make it a little bit difficult by getting some airflow in from behind there and up onto where the plants are, but it didn't seem to be an issue for this particular setup. So we got the grow tables on there and trays, automatic irrigation setup. This is micro drip irrigation style, and all the grow tents are set up to this reservoir over here. We never actually ended up getting it 100% completed. Here's our dab pump that was supposed to be for that, but unfortunately with the delays, we did not get that completed. We have a double 4x4 grow tent setup, twin setups, 645 watt LED grow light, same ones that we used in the 4x8 behind me. Same tables or stands with trays. Got a circulation fan for above the canopy, one for below the canopy, same thing on this side. Everything's exactly the same. So we do have our pulse sensors. This is a Pulse Pro in every single room. We also have the THV sensor here. And before we did have the VWC sensors in the growing medium, one in each grow tent, hooked up to our Pulse hub, which was currently, or was here. I moved that over to the greenhouse property that you saw in the previous clips already on the channel, where it is currently set up monitoring the outdoor grow plants. So as you can see, one thing I want to point out is all these dirt marks on the ground. In the previous videos, you have seen how clean this floor was during my growing in here. Since then, it's been about 3, maybe 4 months, and I have not been growing up here and have not been actually coming in this room at all. As you can see, my feet mark from my sandals, very dirty. The water reservoir, some dirt there. This is from the ceiling leaking anytime it rains. So everybody's saying that the building's not the problem and it's just something to do with the growing. Here is another result of this building being poor quality, and every time it rains, stuff does get into this building. Like, that is ridiculous. So you can see right there, it's all getting dripped on. Here, more evidence for you guys. It just all over this building, it severely leaks. Not only in this floor, but the lower floors also. So the exterior of this building does need a huge restoration job done on it, which I currently don't own the property. So I don't want to invest that money into the building. A Thai landlord, and the building is not really their priority. They're just trying to get the rent and let it go as long as possible, and hoping that the tenants or the person that runs the business in the building spends that investment in updating and maintaining the building. Unfortunately, my lease is only 3 years here, so until we renew that lease and have a longer lease, I won't be putting a major investment into this building until I have a secured contract for a long period of time. But otherwise, this is the setup that we were using. If you guys are new to the channel, this is what we were using. We had a 2-ton AC system. We are using electric heaters as the dehumidification in here. So anytime we need lower humidity, the heaters would come on along with our air conditioning, both at the same time, keeping the temperature at the correct levels while reducing the humidity. So let me set up the time lapse. We got it set over here. We'll set that up, and then we'll just break this down quickly by myself, and then pick back up once everything's completed. Back at the farm doing some work on the indoor grow rooms that we're building out. I just wasn't happy with the paint quality on the walls in here that were done by the construction workers. So I got in here yesterday and did 2 coats of semi-gloss white with a much higher quality paint, and seemed to really change the entire environment in the room. A along with cleaning up all the edges. Sorry if the microphone is a little echoey as this room is completely empty. So this room I already got done yesterday. You can see the color difference between the walls or the wall out there and the bright white in here that's also semi-gloss. The semi-gloss I put on for a couple of reasons. One, for longevity, and two, for ease of cleaning and keeping any pathogens or mold spores off the walls, as we can really scrub those walls very easily with the semi-gloss. With the flat white, just gets really dirty quickly and is pretty much impossible to get perfectly clean. So as you can see down on the floor, we got a nice clean edge all the way across with our epoxy coating that we did. Just need to do some cleanup, 2 spots that ended up getting through the plastic. I already got the next room plasticed off and ready to go. This is the paint that we're using, just a high quality Thai Dulux paint, semi-gloss white. Got our supplies there, so as you can see on the floor, it does need a bunch of cleanup since we did this self-leveling concrete flooring, epoxy coating on top of that, so the edge is not perfectly clean. So painting the walls with the semi-gloss helps finish off that last edge, along with making the walls perfectly white and everything. So I don't know if I'll get this to the doors today, or I'll get some workers to do those, just because it's not the most enjoyable time doing it all with brush inside all these crevices. So, but here's another quick look at this room. Super happy with how clean this room came out. Next step we will do is do all the electrical in here after I set up all the grow equipment, since I want to make sure that I have enough plugs in the correct locations before moving on. Okay, just at the end of the day, I just want to give you guys an update on what we got accomplished today. I spent my day inside the grow room, or grow rooms, future ones. I didn't end up setting up the time lapse as they needed all my extension cords at the back of the property, so I didn't have a way to keep the camera on the entire time I was filming. So figured I would just update you on what I got done today. All the floors are cleaned up. I still need to scrub some places that had the white get through the plastic floor coverings, but just here at the front of the door, and then one there and one at the back. But here's the irrigation room. Super nice, 2 coats of semi-gloss paint on the walls. Floors all cleaned up in here. 2 coats on the ceiling. I still got to get in here and do white silicone around all the edges, along with the corners, just because the corners weren't perfectly done by the drywall people. But otherwise it's super clean in here now. Still have to do the doors. I'm gonna get a person to do that probably tomorrow, hopefully, while we're moving all the grow equipment to the property. But you guys already saw a view in here at the last clip, but still super nice. Super proud of what this space is going to be, or what it's turning into. So let me take a walk to the outdoor plants. Just keep it all one clip. We're just gonna walk the entire property right now. Just so you guys can see what's going on. Yesterday, or the last 2 days actually, have been super big thunderstorms, or monsoons I should say. So I moved all the plants together just because they're having a hard time standing up. So I just did this today as they were all laying down in the morning. I'm gonna figure out how to stake them up. I just got to get the stakes to get them spaced out properly, because if I just leave them like this, they're definitely gonna mold. But here, Frigid OG, Blizzard Vase, and then Super Kush back there, and then we have the single stomp berries right here. We've killed off all the ones I don't like, so these are the remaining ones that are currently getting re-vegged in clone form in the temporary room in there. We can see that we do definitely have spider mites, but I'm gonna start spraying the plants just so we don't get any webbing and they don't overpopulate the property again. Otherwise, I posted on my Instagram earlier, yesterday I think, about this shade cloth has fallen down from the storms, and now some headlights coming this direction on that road are getting all the way over here. It's actually pretty noticeable. Some people say it's not big enough PPFD to affect the plants. You might be right, but definitely at nighttime you can definitely see over here without any issues. Another issue here is it's super hot in this area, and we 100% need shade cloth on top of the plants, along with blocking this ground fabric because the pots are at 90 degrees most days, and that is showing its effects on the plants right now. You can see that they are re-vegging. So originally I was thinking that it was from the headlights of the cars being on, but now I've talked to a couple people and it might be from the heat. Once plants get too hot constantly, they end up re-vegging just to try and stay alive and whatnot. But every single strain, some more than others, are definitely re-vegging. You can see all this extra new growth. The stomp berries right here, not so much compared to the rest of them, but still a little bit of signs of re-vegging. That's the only update I want to give you guys on the plants currently. You can see that we got everything weed whacked over here. I end up having to weed whack the property every 3 weeks. It seems to be a good happy medium without it getting overgrown, along with not having people on the property currently living here. So once we are in full operation, maybe in 6 months, then we'll have people living here, and then they'll just trim out all the grounds every week just so everything's super clean. But this is what they've got done so far today. There's 2 people still going. Let me keep on walking down to the back. Super nice seeing everything clean, and then also the neighbors have cleaned up their property, so it's not like a jungle mess like that, which was this entire area before. But slowly but surely we're doing some progress, some upgrades. And then I think I mentioned in the earlier clip about fixing this fence, so they got in here today and did a temporary fix just to get it standing straight up and more secure, because when they did clean up that side of the property, they ended up ripping all that overgrowth, which pulled the fence down also. So a lot of things were damaged while doing that, but now it is fully secure. And we did any locations that were rusted out, we did some extra bracing in there just so it stays somewhat straight. Still a lot of overgrowth that needs to be taken out of here. We're going to do that tomorrow once they're done moving the grow equipment over to this location from above the shop. And I need to get in here again and secure the bottom of this privacy fence. I did the top all the way across this entire section, and then I had a couple, a male and female, do the bottom section, and pretty much 90% of the bottom ones fell off throughout those storms, unfortunately. So one thing when using these type of clips, here's the clips that I used on the top. This is a broken one, but when you push it through that hole, you need to pull the little clasp down to lock it fully over top. The people that helped me on the bottom, they did not end up pulling this fully over, so it wasn't fully locked in, which ended up falling off, obviously, from all the extra pressure from the wind, because the wind does constantly flow this way across the entire property, and the sun rises over there and sets on this side. So the property location, the way it's set up, is actually perfect for these greenhouses and everything. Just we need to get more secure fence here that's stronger, because right now when the wind does come over here, this fence is not strong enough to hold it up with the shade cloth on it. As you can see down there where they're weed whacking, I'll just zoom in so I don't have to walk over there. We supported it over there because that was fully on the ground yesterday when I got here. So I put that temporary like rolling fence there, but now that they've fully secured it with the metal poles, we don't have to worry about it falling over again. I'm just gonna take this extra piece of metal up to the front with me. And I came over here the last couple nights at nighttime to see how much of the property is lit up by that street light. There's another one there and a third there. So 3 of them right there. This section right here where the greenhouse is not is pretty well lit up by those street lights. So my thinking for the plants that go in these greenhouses, or I guess covered areas, is putting a fence right about here, maybe a couple feet from the edge of the greenhouse frames, that is fully either metal or shade cloth like that. That way the light from those street lights don't actually get over to the plants. I think once we have a blockage about 2.5 meters high. There won't be any light leaking into the these areas where the plants are going to be. I know you guys are waiting patiently for me to start growing in these greenhouses behind me, but a lot of things are moving in the background. Some things that can't be physically done until a few agreements are made and finalized, but I guarantee you there are a lot of big progress moves being done in the background, which I'm super excited to show you in the future. Just can't mention them just yet until they're fully finalized. Okay, so we're back at the farm. I think the last clip was actually at the farm also, but it has been about 2 weeks since that last clip. So I have got a bunch of work accomplished at both this property and a couple other places that we have going on, which we do have big updates coming for you guys on a few different locations for not only the channel, but the business overall in Thailand. And excited to show you guys that and tell its story going forward. So let's take a quick walk around the property again. I know the last clip was a walk around, but we did get a bunch of work done, so let's take a look. Okay, so we'll just start on this side. This is our like garbage throw wall area. We got like 3 truckloads of garbage taken away from the property, so it was a big cleanup over the last couple weeks. Somewhat cleaned up over here, still quite a big mess from all the dogs being destroying all those bags, but we did clean up this area over here. And then in the last clip, you guys definitely saw a huge mess in this area, so we got that cleaned up, a lot of junk thrown away, and then we set up a temporary re-veg location because I didn't want to spend any more money on the air conditionings in the temporary rooms in there, just because we don't have any climate control in there. So we were getting some powdery mildew. The plants are currently in the re-veg stage, which we are getting new growth coming out, so that is nice. All the white you see here is from a sulfur spray that we put on all the plants just to kill off any powdery mildew that we still had around the property from a previous incident. But all the plants are very healthy out here. We have the lights on for 18 hours, and then at night they shut off for 6 hours just to keep them in the veg mode. But super temporary setup. As you can see, we have the grow tables and trays from above the shop, which we were using in the grow tents before. So we've got all that grow equipment moved over here and on the property now, so we can use that stuff to improve this property now. But all the junk that was around here is all cleaned up. Actually, we'll go into this space first, which will be our future irrigation room here. A 2-light R&D testing room for our pheno hunting and breeding projects, both in this room and the one behind it, which will be a 2-light over there, 2-light over here. So you can see we already have our dab pumps laid out here for our irrigation system. We have our breaker panel box here that will service this entire building, and then we have an exact same 100 amp service panel like this that will supply that building there and the one behind that. So super happy to get started over here. So the plan over here is 1 pump for this room, 1 pump for that room back there, and then we'll have our water tanks across here, both for nutrients and water storage, and then all of our control systems and whatnot above. As we go in here, we got our dehumidifier put in place. AC is already installed and working. As you can see, there are no plugs or electrical around here, so we do need to get that panel installed and then all the electrical ran. But I'm gonna do that after setting up these rooms 100%. We already got a grow tray here ready to go to fit 2 lights. So we'll take a walk around to the back side of this building. So pretty organized over here. Super happy that we are still making progress, as it's just me doing most of the work. I think in the last clip the doors weren't painted white. We still need to do 1 more coat. In here, the workers did get it all smoothed out and the walls finished, super nice. And then I came in here and did 2 extra coats of semi-gloss white paint in here to seal up everything fully. Unfortunately, the painters didn't put plastic on the floor, so the floors got pretty dirty. I did put plastic down just to stop as much paint splatter or stuff getting onto the floor, because we will be doing epoxy coating on here. So this little test area at the door, I did some scraping with a razor blade That just needs to be finished off across the rest of the floor, and then we can move on to the epoxy coating. Just a quick look over here where we had our outdoor grow testing here and then breeding project here. All the plants are being cut down now and are currently drying in another room. We will check that out later on. Not the best outcome from that, just because we had a monsoon for the last 2 weeks before harvest, but that's the way it goes in Thailand when you're growing outdoors. So this is our propagation room. We have all the tray or the rack set up. 5 racks so far, 3 levels so far with 3 lights per shelf. So we got Grandmaster LED clone lights here to service this entire area. We still need to do a shelf across here so we can get 2 more layers of trays and domes on here, giving it 5 layers high all the way up. We'll do that on both sides. And then back here in this room, I still need to do, well, I have to clean up the walls first and the floor, get rid of all this paint, scrape the tiles, and then we're gonna do epoxy coating both on the floor and up the tile up to this area. We will be adding 1 more shelf into here, so we can have 4 levels in this room to give us some extra clone production. So this room I'm super happy with, just need to finish off this room. I did have plans to put a sink and a table in here, but due to that height of that drain, it's a little bit too high for all the drains. If you mount a sink properly, it just doesn't drain properly. So I'm just gonna seal it all up. No sink in here, but there you go. That's this space. Here's our other electrical panel with all its breakers, which will service the dry room on the other side of this wall, this room, and then back over here, the bathroom, laundry room, clean room, and the staff room over here. So that would be pretty exciting. I will be doing epoxy coating on both this room and this room, but that's just the general idea. We got everything somewhat clean. Have to scrape the floor in here to get all that paint off before we do the epoxy coating. And then we'll give both these rooms fresh coat of paint to make it white in there, super clean, and then we'll paint the roofs black so it just overall looks better. Back here, I'm not gonna open the door, but this will be the 2 light tester room also. We have our dehumidifier set up already and the AC up there ready to go. Again, no electrical in here until we get that electrical panel set up and all the plugs. Over here in the staff room, we did temporarily put a couple shelves in here where we had the clones, but because there is no dehumidifier in here, it was very hard to regulate the environment, so that's why they're outside now. So just a 2 bed or a standard bed here. We're gonna add a second bed on this side, so 2 or 3, 4 staff can stay on site if they need or want to. Ideally only 2, because I don't want them to be stacked up too much in here. I want them to feel comfortable and excited to work here. So as we walk around this area, not much has changed, just the dogs destroying everything. As you can see, all of our cocoa bags are ripped open again. I think I showed this in the previous clip, but there you go. But we did get most of this area cleaned out. And then obviously here in the last clip, you saw how high the grass was overgrown here. So everything's been weed whacked down, picked up, thrown out, and most of the garbage has been picked up. Need the staff to come through here and pick up all the cement or rocks. That way it'll be a lot easier to cut the grass once we level out this ground. But that's the future. Let me walk around the back of the greenhouse. It's probably easiest. Over here we have the wet walls for the veg, or what was going to be the veg greenhouse. So the wet walls would reduce the temperatures in there and add a little bit of humidity, but in Thailand you don't really need the humidity being added, so that would not really affect veg too much. But flowering, you don't want to add a wet wall in Thailand. This was going to be the water tank storage for the wet walls. Just need to put a pump in there and then run the PVC to the feeds on the top of the wet wall, and then the drains that will come out the bottom and go back into the tank. Not going to show you too much back here, as it's pretty much the same as the last clip. Everything's being maintained, weed whacked, cleaned up. I just still need to get back there and fix the, let me see if I can zoom in for you, fix the fence or the shade cloth back there. But overall, super excited with the progress that we have got going on, and still slowly but surely, some days it's just me working, and then other days we get 3-4 people out here helping me do some things. Just all depends on who's available at the time, because I do not have full-time staff yet. There's just not enough work to be able to pay salary to staff to work full-time just yet, but that should change in about a month or two, as we bring all these facilities back online. So Thailand is not a bust like some of you are thinking, or I've seen in the comments. Just needed some time to work things out. Okay, so we're back over here at the front of the property. I got somebody coming to pick up all these pots. So all those boxes are filled with those plastic pots. That'll be gone in the next couple days. I'm probably just gonna throw this out to the garbage. The vermiculite, it's not gonna be used. And the perlite is slowly getting sold. There's just so much of it on the property. We'll go back over here and check out the plants that are drying, that have the seeds in it. So we did a cross of Blizzard of Oz with I think 15 different strains. So they're just temporarily in this room. No AC on, just fans in the regular climate of Thailand. Not the most ideal situation, but seed production, so it's not really that important if the flower is a little harsh or whatnot, because nobody's going to be really smoking it. So that's just a quick walkthrough of the entire property, so you guys get an update of what's going on. And I know it's been quite a few weeks since the last upload, but again, we have a lot going on and some partners being changed. I won't be talking about the past, but we will be talking about the future and what the new team and what I have planned going forward will be. So until next time, happy growing everyone, and remember to get out there and make it happen.